Hi everyone, today's story is The Mysterious Case of the Missing Honey, and it's written by Claire Friedman and Holly Swain. It was a busy Monday morning at the police station. Telephones were ringing, computers were computing. Dring dring! Inspector Clueless picked up his phone for the 10th time that morning. "Mr. Bear here," said the voice down the line. "Help! Someone's stolen my honey!" Inspector Clueless called to his dog, Sniff It Out. "Sniff, there's been a theft at Mr. Bear's house. Let's visit the scene of the crime." Mr. Bear was waiting by his garden shed. "I keep my honey in here," he pointed. "I bought 10 new honey pots yesterday, but when I looked this morning, I found 2 had been eaten overnight." Inspector Clueless inspected the shed. "Sniff it out," sniffed it out. 2 honey pots were empty. Said Sniff. "This must be the work of a clever honey thief." "Don't worry," Clueless nodded. "We'll get to the bottom of this horrible crime." Inspector Clueless and his dog rushed back to the police station. "Fetch all our files, Sniff," Clueless cried. "Let's get to work." They looked through every file of every suspect they knew. Nabbit the rabbit, Tricky Dicky Chameleon, Billy the Kid, Beak the Snake, Fingers the Frog, Slippery Sam Lizard, Stretch Giraffe, and Clarence the Cat Burglar. 2 names stood out: Nabbit the Rabbit and Fingers the Frog. "Let's see what Nabbit the Rabbit is up to first," said Clueless. It was a dark night. Inspector Clueless and his dog were hiding outside Nabbit's home. "Nothing's happening," grumbled Sniff. "Shh," hushed the inspector. Suddenly, Nabbit slunk out of his house wearing a strange disguise. "I bet Nabbit's on his way to Mr. Bear's house to steal more honey," whispered Sniff excitedly. "Let's follow him and see." As Nabbit hurried down the street, Clueless and Sniff crept close behind. But Nabbit was hopping along to a Cabbage Patch party. "It's a fancy dress party," gasped Sniff. "That's why Nabbit was wearing a costume." "Nabbit won't be nabbing any honey tonight," sighed Clueless. "Let's go home." It was a busy Tuesday at the police station. Telephones were ringing, computers were computing. Dring dring! Inspector Clueless picked up his phone for the 10th time that morning. "Mr. Bear here," said the voice down the line. "Someone's been at my honey again." "We're on our way," cried Clueless. Mr. Bear's garden shed looked just as before, but Sniff spotted some sticky honey prints on the door. "These prints are interesting, Mr. Bear," said Inspector Clueless. "You say 2 more honey pots were emptied overnight?" Mr. Bear nodded sadly. "I've only 6 full pots left," he sighed. "Who could be eating them?" "It's baffling," said Clueless, "but we'll find out." It was a dark, dark night. Inspector Clueless and Sniff were following their second suspect, Fingers the Frog. "Fingers must be our honey thief," Clueless whispered. "Yes," laughed Sniff. "Why else would he be out this late? We'll catch him in the act." But Fingers was heading for the fantastic all-night frog hopping competition. Fingers is a champion hopper, Clueless sighed. "If any honey goes missing tonight, We can cross him off our list too. It was a busy Wednesday at the police station. Telephones were ringing, computers were computing. Dring, dring. Inspector Clueless picked up his phone for the 10th time that morning. Guess what? Wailed the voice down the line. We're on our way, Mr. Bear, cried Clueless. It was the same old story. I hurried to the shed the moment I woke up, Mr. Bear sobbed. Look, there's just one pot left. Mysterious, sighed Inspector Clueless. These honey prints lead back to the house. Sniff, sniffed. Whose are they? No idea, said Clueless. This is a difficult case, and we've run out of suspects. Don't worry, smiled Sniff. I have an idea. It was a dark, dark, dark night. Inspector Clueless and Sniff were hiding behind the shed in Mr. Bear's garden. They waited and waited. Suddenly, they heard loud footsteps. Mr. Bear came walking down the garden with his eyes shut and his arms stretched out. Mr. Bear is sleepwalking, gasped Clueless. Oh, I can't turn the page. Mr. Bear opened the shed door and reached for the honey when... Whoa! He slipped. Help! Cried Mr. Bear, suddenly waking up. Where am I? Luckily, Inspector Clueless and Sniff explained everything. You've been stealing your own honey in your sleep, Clueless said. Those sticky paw prints were yours all the time, Sniff added. Oh, Mr. Bear nodded. That explains the honey in my bed. Well done for solving the case. Clueless beamed. Eat a snack before bedtime, Mr. Bear, he said. That should help. Good night. It was a busy Thursday at the police station. Telephones were ringing. Computers were computing. Dring, dring. Inspector Clueless picked up his phone for the 10th time that morning. Hello, Mr. Squirrel, he shouted. Missing nuts, eh? Clueless slammed down his phone. Sniffy called excitedly. Drop everything. We've got another case. The end. What a great ending to the story. I didn't think it was going to be Mr. Bear who was the culprit. I hope you enjoyed that. So from myself, Hector, and the chickens, we'll see you the next time. Bye now. Chick, chick.